Hey everybody, it's Christina. Welcome back to the craft room. Today we're going to be playing with Spellbinders July 2023 Stamp and Die Set of the Month. If you are not familiar with the kits that Spellbinders offers, they do have them available on their website. You can subscribe to individual kits or you can subscribe to everything. And around the 6th of the month, you can go in and edit. So if one month you don't want the stamp and die set of the month, you can just remove that and then get all of the others. And then after that, if they have any kits left over, they will actually put those up for sale on their website. So if you see any of the kits that I've been using, you can check out the website after the 6th to see if there's any available. So we are going to be playing with the July stamp and die of the month. I love this stamp. I have this big stamp already taken off of here because I'm ready to go. I had a plan originally that I was going to do some watercoloring, stamped out my image, and I wasn't feeling it. The watercoloring wasn't going well. I am not good with that, but I have another idea, so we're going to try that out. So this stamp set includes the pines and the pine cones, which is adorable in this frame. And then it has a couple sentiments and a couple of other little images. It also has the coordinating dies. So I keep my dies in a magnetic bowl, which I have to be careful it doesn't magnetize it too loudly to my glass here. And the set includes an outline to our stamp, outlines to some of the sentiments, and then also a couple of outlines to some of the little smaller images. And then we also have a frame that we can cut out in the middle as well. We are only going to be using the Merry Christmas die and the outline of the stamp. So we are going to go ahead and get started with that. I am going to pull out my Misty, which I already went ahead and put my stamp onto my Misty. I pulled out some cardstock as well. We're going to be using this gorgeous forest green cardstock because I absolutely love this, and I thought it would be perfect for a Christmas kind of themed card. So I have the forest green cardstock, and I need to add some anti-static powder to this because I am going to be doing some embossing powder, and I am going to just make sure that everything's nice and powdered. And we also want to make sure that our stamp doesn't hit our magnet, which it is going to hit. So we're just going to move that a little bit. And then we are going to ink this up with some VersaMark ink, and VersaMark ink is the sticky ink that we are going to use to keep our embossing powder adhered to it, and then it'll detail, and all the details to the stamp are absolutely gorgeous. So I am going to ink this up really well. I've recently put some re-inker on my ink pad, so it shouldn't be too hard to get this nice and covered. And then we're going to go ahead and close our cover. I did go ahead and make myself my own little press tool, just using a jar, and I put some sequins inside and some felt on the bottom, and I have my own little press tool, which is really cool, and I'm loving it so far. Perfect. Before I go ahead and add the embossing powder to this one, I'm going to go ahead and do my sentiment as well, so we can just do all that at one time. Just adding my powder there, a little too much. Put my sentiment down. I'm not worried about it if it's straight or not because we're going to die cut that with the coordinating die. And I am going to go ahead and ink that up as well with my VersaMark. And then we'll stamp that out. That's perfect. And then I can go ahead and do my embossing powder. All right, I'm going to use this gilded embossing powder by Brutus Monroe, which I absolutely love. So we're going to go ahead and sprinkle that on. A couple taps just to get it off there. It's a little spot that doesn't have any embossing powder on it, so we'll just kind of make sure that's nice and coated. And I'm not going to worry about around the edges if I have gold embossing powder around that because I'm going to be cutting this out with my die cut. We just have to do the Merry Christmas sentiment. All right, I just have a little bit of cleaning up to do with some of this gold embossing powder. Just want to kind of get that out from the center of the C there. And I think this one is pretty good. I do have some gold right around the edges here that I know my die cut is not going to catch. So we're just going to try to wipe that away. I just have a little thin brush just to make sure I don't accidentally brush away anything that I don't want to brush away. So we're just going to go ahead and clean that up. Again, not worrying too much about the edges, even though I'm still cleaning the edges, because I'm going to die cut this with my coordinating die. So we're going to go ahead and heat set this, and we're going to zoom in so you can watch the magic of embossing powder. I love that shine. Love it, love it, love it. Love the gold on the green. It's beautiful. So we're going to do some die cutting. I have the coordinating dies for the stamps and the sentiment. I'm going to go ahead and tape down my Merry Christmas sentiment, and then I can run this right through my die cutting machine. I like to use the Best Ever tape. I'm also going to cut this out maybe 2 or 3 additional times because I'm going to use that to kind of build some layers. And then we're going to go ahead and get our stamped background all set to die cut as well. I just love that gold on the green. Loving it. So we're just going to go ahead and put a couple pieces of tape down. Make sure our die doesn't move around when we go to die cut this. It'll also help flatten it out a little bit because it got a little warped when I was heat embossing. And like I said, I'm going to run this through my die cutting machine. I'm also going to cut out the Merry Christmas sentiment a couple of extra times so that I can use that to layer. All right, so there we go. We have our sentiments all cut out. And then I also went ahead and did our stamped image. And we're just going to go ahead and pop that out. Isn't that gorgeous? I love that stamp. I'm going to do a little bit more die cutting before we jump into putting our card together. I have the postage edge rectangles dies, and I'm going to be using, I think this one is about the same size as an A2 size card. So I'm going to cut that one out. This is just a regular cut, and it has like a little polka dot design or polka dot impression going around it. So we're going to die cut that, and then I'm going to take the next smaller size and do that in this cream cardstock, which will be our postage edge piece. And we're going to die cut this. So I'm going to run these through the die cutter, and then we'll be back and we can start putting our card together. All right, so we have our green piece, which does this pretty polka dot edge going around it. And I left a little schmutz on there. And then we have our postage edge piece. And that is going to just layer just like that. I think that is going to be so nice. So before we start putting this together, I want to start building up my sentiment. I'm going to use my glue here just to kind of layer up our pieces. And it's just similar to adding foam adhesive to the back of our sentiment. So we're just going to go ahead and layer these. And then we're going to add our top layer, which is our sentiment with our embossing powder. And I am going to set this right here on my desk. And I'm going to use, I'll turn this upside down. I'm just going to use my press for my Misty there and hold that into place. I thought a craft cardstock for the base of our card, for actually our card piece, would be perfect. So I want to make an A2 size card. So this measures 5.5 by 8.5. And I'm going to score this at 4 1/4. Going to create our score line there. And then I'm going to grab my Teflon bone folder. And what I like to do is I take my card and everything and just put it right in the corner. And I hold it in place while I do my edge. We're going to go ahead and adhere our green cardstock, our forest green cardstock, down to our craft cardstock. So we're just going to go ahead. I'm just going to use a tape runner, adhere that right on down. Let's go ahead and line that up right on the front. So nice. Then I'm also going to add some tape runner to this cream colored cardstock, and that is going to get centered right into the center of that forest green cardstock. I was debating on popping this up with some foam adhesive, but I think I kind of I'm going to leave it just like so. And then thinking we might pop this one up. We definitely have this popped up. So I'm thinking I don't need to pop anything else up and just leave the sentiment be the focal point in the one part that's popped up. For this one, I'm going to go ahead and add my tape runner, but I'm also going to add some liquid adhesive just to get right on those very edges. And this is going to get adhered right to the center of that off-white cardstock, or that cream-colored cardstock. And I'm going to grab my big stamp press, or acrylic block, so we can get that all adhered down. And I'm just going to let that sit and let that dry before we go ahead and put our sentiment on there. All right, now that that's nice and dry, I'm going to go ahead and add my Merry Christmas sentiment. And we're just going to pop that right in the middle of that frame. And there we go. Check out that shine from that gold embossing powder. Gorgeous. Love this stamp set. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'll leave a link to all the supplies that I used in today's video down below, including all of the kits for Spellbinders. And I will catch you all in the next video. Thanks everybody for watching, and I'll see you next time.